Our top story tonight, some going down in November.
Wars, spending.
There has got to be something big a-brewing.
They're using geese to guard prisons in Brazil.
Does Biden know what Mexico is?
Would you scare Joe Biden? What are we laughing at? I think
Butthole.
Billy Mays was real.
I'm a world-class skeptic.
I don't know anything about Hunter Biden. I don't know who's big into cocaine and laptops. Why is that our problem? Complete, absolute incompetence. Like, who funds the news? It's a freaking inside job, man. That the entire world's a stage and everything's fake.
Welcome back to another episode of the Veritas Road. Carson, back here with John in the studio. We have Jules from Greypilled with us. What's up, sir?
What's going on, guys? I appreciate y'all having me, man.
Dude, appreciate you taking the time to come on.
Oh yeah, of course, dude. Like I told you, I'm on vacation this next week, so got a lot of time on my hands. I'm like I said, I'd love to have you guys back on sometime soon, or y'all come on an esoteric book review or something. You know, you're part of the Patreon too, so you can always send me, you know, whenever you're there, just send me a DM and I'll shoot you the link or whatever.
Sweet.
Oh,
Yeah, I guess before we get into the good shit, folks, we still have the soft launch of the Patreon going on. That is still, what, $2 a month right now, John?
Yeah.
So go check that out. It's 33% off. And the hard launch.
I'm going to go subscribe to that right now.
Oh, I'm honored. And then the hard launch, if you'll forgive the phallic metaphor, is on March 3rd. We've changed that a little bit, so it's March 3rd on 3/3. A little ironic there, a little fun, little numerical fun there for you guys.
Illuminati confirmed.
That's right. So that's coming on the 3rd. We'll go live for Touch Me Tuesdays that day. So we'll have some fun shit planned for that day. That'll be a good time. And then we rescheduled our show with 6th Century. We're not sure when that is yet because John and I had a soccer game that day because we're 8.
Out 10.
And after that, we've got a show with Tyler on this coming Thursday. I don't even know what fucking day that is, but we'll figure it out. So is that anything else, John? Am I missing anything for us?
No, I think you covered all that.
Okay, Jules, where can the people find you?
Well, for people who don't know, I am Jules, host of the what's y'all's Patreon?
It's Veritas /Veritas Road.
Okay, just Veritas Road. Okay,
Yeah.
I just want to go to it, make sure I'm there. All right,
Is that why I can't find it?
I'll sign up in a minute. Guys, I'm Jules, host of the Greypilled podcast, host of a few other shows as well. You may know me as the Mississippi Mystic, the handsome Hierophant, it used to be known as handsome faggot. Then handsome Wadget, but now I'm thrice born into the handsome Hierophant. So, and the sound scientist, Elohim etymologist, a couple other shows I do. I also am a co-panelist on the Occult Rejects, and I host a show with Headless Giants. It's a series on the Occult Rejects called Rustic Gods. And then I also have a Saturday morning Patreon show, which we're doing tomorrow morning because we had Styan Fox from Great Horn Pagans on earlier. It's a banger. Go check it out. And that's Gods of the Morningwood, esoteric book review. We stream it live. Right afterwards, I try to put it private to Patreon. Sometimes it takes me a day, but that's one way you can support the show is over at patreon.com/greypilledpodcast, as well as supporting these guys on Patreon for $2 tier. I have a $2 tier as well.
Nice.
But you get in where you fit in over there. And follow me on YouTube. I need to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of this next week.
You're close. Yeah, I was on there today. You're close.
Yeah, man. Getting there, trying to. That's why I've been, I
grinding.
took the past few weeks, been kind of doing just the EBRs and maybe an Occult Reject show here or there. But as far as having guests on or going on anybody's show, I've just been kind of laying low here lately. But I'm happy to be here tonight, man. Happy to be hanging out with you guys. I like hanging out with y'all. So
Yeah. So y'all had Brad Lale on last night on the Occult Rejects.
Yeah,
Called the
man.
first 30 minutes of that. I'm gonna have to go back and re-listen because it sounds like he was killing it.
Yeah, banger
Yeah,
episode.
I
Dude.
love that dude.
Brad is awesome. He is a good man, great father, and he does his research.
Yeah.
He's not scared to go outside the box and get into a lot of these discussions. That we get into sometimes as well. And to come on the Occult Rejects, that's there's some people that are very hesitant about coming on there because of the name, and
Right.
some of the people used to be involved with certain groups, and that's neither here nor there. But he came on and killed it, dude. He crushed it. He answered all the hard questions if there was any. We had great conversation, and Nick and Headless, I think they may be doing a show. I may even be there if they don't do it today, where the solar flares actually align with certain dates where we have invaded countries. And this is very, very true. Ronald Reagan had 8 astrologers or astronomers, and George Bush actually invaded Iraq on the summer solstice, I believe, on the day. So there's something to these certain days. There's a certain energy there.
Yeah.
If you invade or if you show strength or power, you will prevail. So they would say in the old days, you have the favor of the gods, right?
Yeah, and that's borne out. I guess we can start here. That's borne out in a lot of religious literature. Even in, it's the thing I'm most familiar with, biblical text. It talks about the stars being a sign of the times, and any any other religious philosophy that I've ever looked into. Those are a massive part of the way they do things, and it seems like a lot of the new religion of science has been focused on brainwashing people to believe that's horseshit. And it's very clearly borne out in the way that a lot of the big things happen on a grand national scale that align with certain signs in the sky. And I know jack shit about astrology, but align with certain signs in the sky, like Corona, some of these invasions you're talking about. It happens all the time. Is that just a result of these people being big into whatever Satanism, whatever these people, whatever Hillary Clinton's doing and on her back porch? I don't even know.
Well, Satanism is mainly, LaVeyan Satanism would be defined as the worship of self, right? So I think that these elites are in these mystery schools. They took the dark path of these mystery schools. I think y'all have heard me explain before when it comes to a lot of this ancient esoteric and occult knowledge. Yeah, it's the intent behind the usage of it, right? So just because you learn it in one sect or certain secret society, it doesn't mean it's all evil, right? A lot of this stuff could be used and if channeled correctly, could be used for good and to counter a lot of the dark energy being conjured up right now.
Yeah,
I think, but dude, there's definitely something, and maybe it even ties in with a certain entity or deity on that certain day, right?
Yeah,
that energy that's connected to a deity, because even with the planets, you have regents of these planets. Mars is Samael, right? You have and so it's these entities are aligned even with the planets as far as their energy and their essence. But definitely no. I think they've been doing this since antiquity, since Rome. Even before that, back in Sumer, and even who knows before that in Hyperborea or Lemuria, Atlantis,
whatever came before all that stuff.
And what's funny, if you see this, and Alex Jones is now guilty of this. He's trying to incorporate the whole Atlantean priest kings thing into being tied into Kabbalist. And I'm like, whoa, dude, it's something that's completely foreign to that whole region. It may tie in somewhat to Egypt. Yeah. But Egypt's North Africa. I think we may know who lived in North Africa long ago. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so
I talk a lot of shit about Alex Jones, but he's entertaining. I've never not been entertained.
He always has been. Have y'all seen the Info Medal?
What the hell is that?
Oh my God, dude. Okay. I don't know if we can do it on stream. You may get flagged because we are on YouTube, but Info Metal, me and Thomas, shout out to Paranoid American. We were supposed to have the guy on who does the music. It's a channel on YouTube or Twitter, maybe even. So you can maybe find him on Twitter. Look for Info Metal. It's this guy who plays metal music, and he takes Alex Jones's sound bites and puts it in the form of death metal, and it's just Alex Jones just demon, and it's just it's incredible, dude. It's phenomenal, and so shouts out that guy.
There's a dude who took all of his rants and put it into an indie folk song, and it is one of the
Okay,
funniest things I've ever
I think
listened
that's
to.
the same guy.
Yeah,
is it the same guy? Oh my
Okay.
gosh.
Maybe the same guy.
Yeah, that guy killed
may
it on
not
that
be the
because it's
same
one of the
guy,
funniest things.
But it may be the same guy.
I'm
but
gonna
dude-
listen to that after this is over. I can't wait. I'm so excited.
Well, see what Alex is pushing, and this is kind of what Candace is pushing, and Ian Carroll and Tucker and all. They're pushing the Khazar theory, and they're pushing basically trying to put all the blame of what's happening right now on factions of ancient European cults. So once again, blaming the Europeans, right? It's like, oh no, these aren't Jews. They're imposters.
Yeah.
You know, this isn't. I mean, they're wearing the traditional Jewish garb from over 2,000 years ago, but
Right.
no, this couldn't be the same people. You know, and it's like,
Oh, that's a good point. How would you delineate between that then during those discussions? Because I mean, you're right. They're all Ashkenazis that everybody's pissed at, and
see, that's where it gets murky because the Ashkenazi is the mixing with the European DNA.
oh, see that's
Absolutely.
me talking out of my ass. That's why I shouldn't do that. So okay, so they're all Europeans. I've met several. We had some come to our little sweet religious school here in Columbia, and they're like, "Yeah, I'm Jewish, but my parents are from England." I'm like, "What the fuck do you mean you're Jewish?"
Right.
And so, but these seem to be the kinds of people who are. I mean, we were talking about this before we went live. Like, are taking over towns in New Jersey. You know, you were saying.
Let's dude, they have no respect for their European heritage. I mean, I've never met any really Ashkenazi. It's usually all for their, Judeo side,
Right.
because they're told from an infant that they are chosen by God, and that's not healthy at all. I don't think for a child especially. And I mean, I've seen on camera some of these children, especially in Israel, they're the ones that are spitting on Christians and other people, and kind of harassing people, and like you just brought up, shout out Daniel. What?
Oh, you said his name earlier. I think I wrote it down. Oliveira.
Daniel Oliveira. Oliveira. Fuck, I don't know, man.
Something foreign sounding.
Not one, but two Jewish communities in the Northeast, one in New York. I forget the one in New York. That one was bad, but then this one, dude, I mean, they had their own Jewish police force come out and like stop him and then basically tell him the fuck that they're going to follow him and then the fuck off. This is the guy that went to India and went to the shit parade.
The shit parade?
Oh my God. Y'all don't know.
I don't know.
Oh,
I've heard of that. Yeah.
Oh God. Oh, it's awful. It's mortifying. Dude.
Is it what it sounds like?
Yes.
Okay.
No, quite literally. In India, I don't know. It may be every year. It's just like a street of shit, and it's nothing but men. And they're literally, it's like they're having the time of their lives. And they venerate the shit because it comes from the cow, and the goddess wanted to be one with the cow, I think.
Oh.
And which is completely esoteric, but they took it literal.
That's alarming,
right?
And
all this shit. That's what people don't get with the ancient text when it talks about, with certain rites and rituals. That's different, right? You got weird shit in certain religions, but in esoteric text or mythologies, when it talks about that, like being inside of something or like the life force or something, people interpret it as actual shit and come, right? But it's quite literally esoteric, maybe even cosmological, like as above so below, right? Like a lot of these stories. I know if you guys know who Micah Dank is, shout out Mike. I need to get him back on. He's an ex-Mason. Which most people go, well, once a Mason, always a Mason. But it's like, whatever. If he's not paying the tributes to his lodge anymore, then whatever.
Right.
And he was writing books for David Icke. I think he was under that company, under that publishing company. He came on my show, talk about astrotheology, and dude, that was when my view started. I was like, okay, I've heard of astrotheology, syncretism. What is this? And then he explained it, and these stories, like. I was like, holy shit, there's literally like some kind of sign in the sky for all these stories that we see in these ancient texts.
Yeah.
It is mind-blowing. It's fascinating. And so that's what made me, that was the turning point in Greypilled right there. I started looking at things through different lenses and really researching a lot more about the stuff that I was just, kind of talking about, but I got kind of lazy in my research there for a minute. And so this past 6 months, I've been doing more reading, more research, and a lot more figuring out, especially in my everyday life, IRL, my spiritual life, right?
Yeah.
And that of my wife as well. I don't know if y'all know, but my wife is very clairvoyant. You maybe call her in the Norse sagas and those certain mythologies, they're called vulvas.
That's a dangerous name.
Well, the vulva, right? Where do you think it came from?
Okay. So I wasn't far off. Okay.
These European priestesses, right? And there's a lot of divine feminine bashing lately, and I don't think that's healthy at all. Not for anyone's spirit. I think that's something that's been subverted, and that subversion has been pushed upon our young women in society. And that's kind of that dualism that you see there, that dark side of that feminine spirit, right? That we see manifested. And it's because, why is it manifested?
Yeah.
It's because that's all people have in their perception. Is this fucking, boss bitch, I'm gonna have 4 kids with like 3 different guys, like, all that stuff. And it's like, that's not what being a powerful woman, as far as like women in the ancient times, I mean, maybe not in the Levant, but in other cultures, were venerated. They had a divine connection with the creator, or with whoever they revered as God, right?
Yeah.
And so there's something to that, right? There's something to, like, especially you could throw pornography into there. Like, who owns all the porn sites?
Right.
Yeah. It's always like, dude, it's sick. But when you see, your culture, or when you see your culture being bastardized, you can't help but notice.
Yeah, and it's happening constantly, and you're very right.
Why is every movie like Midsummer directed by a Jewish director, or written by a Jew?
Right.
So all these European customs and traditions of our ancient, of our ancient past, we view them in this lens, right?
Yeah.
No. You have to go and actually look at it, and it's actually not at all like how they portray it, or it's the interpretation of it, right? You have certain people they're interpreting things wrong, and you perceive their interpretation. What does that do? How you see things? This affects everything, your whole worldview,
Right?
quite literally.
How much
mind control? I mean, it really, it's the most simple form of mind control that I can explain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How much do you think that level of propagandizing people and essentially co-opting their conscience affects the whatever deified spirits are around? Because you're right about that whole like boss bitch type mentality that's invaded culture. And there has been, at least like in my experience and what borderline non-research have done, like this whole idea of women being the people who are a little bit more sensitive to some of these spiritual things. It was a phrase I think I came across during 2020, which was this whole idea, and I'll be interested to hear y'all's thoughts on this. Like, women point, men lead, women follow. And this whole idea of like women are a lot more sensitive to the spiritual nature of where we need to go, kind of have more of that intuition, that compassion to connect with that side of things that men don't naturally have. But you're right, that seems to have been co-opted. How much does the propagandizing, the brainwashing, legitimately on a spiritual level, do you think affect the deities that people are interacting with, the spiritual nature of how they're behaving, who they're communing with, and that sort of thing.
Well, I think when you look at it like this, think about if our ancestral spirits and all, they're being they're basically being taught in this subverted way. Right now we're viewing them as these evil people and all this stuff. Like this is gonna provoke them to be pissed off, probably. You know what I mean? People encounter so much dark energy. It's like, yeah, well, like the spirits of the land may be angry. The elemental spirits may be angry. The earth's being treated like shit. You know what I mean? And they're embracing, so they're rejecting these archetypes, but they're embracing with culture and with materialism, the dark side of it. Right. So eventually people begin to view the entire thing as this dark, lower vibrational shit. Right. Like the anything positive attributed to that goes out the window.
Yeah.
What did Yuri Bezmenov say? He was like, the brainwashing will be so he is that KGB agent that was in that interview. The brainwashing will be so severe that even if you present truth in front of people, they will still reject it. Right. So I think that's what's going on. But as far as what you said with the deities, though, dude, like, no, we are definitely, and people don't even know, they are giving so much power to lower level entities, man. And if these entities didn't exist, then they have been created. They have been created. Definitely. I think so many symbols and just things that were meant to represent, a few different aspects of nature in a symbolic way, or the divine, or a certain god or deity here or there, people took and ran with and created their own deity with it. Satan, Lucifer, Baphomet, Moloch.
Yeah.
None of these are actual entities. Like, originally, right? Now, let's go through that.
Yeah, because I was going to say, can you? Yeah.
So Satan, adversary. This is any entity or deity, adversary to whatever god is the head of that certain nation, right? So when you're looking at it through a Judeo lens, any European deity, anything outside of that pantheon is a demon. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so far.
Yeah. And I mean, this goes with the whole, anti-Semitism, and this has been quoted so much lately by the head of the ADL and all these like big rabbis and leaders of Jewish communities. Anti-Semitism is embedded in European DNA, and we must uproot anti-Semitism. That's coded language right there. That means that we must uproot the European heritage.
Well,
and so you look at it with their prophecies, they view us as Edom, the evil brother of Jacob, and all this stuff. And it's like, this is our enemy telling us this. They're the ones that wrote this story, right? They're the ones that put it together. People can say all day long, no, it was this person in the church or this person. All these myths came from this certain culture.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're viewing, anything, let me get back to what we were talking about. Anything adversarial to Yahweh,
right?
Any other deity is a Satan, is an adversary, right?
That tracks.
So it's just a title. There is no,
I
think there may be like a Hasatan in Islam.
Something like that, yeah.
But again, maybe that's just something that Islam created, right?
Yeah, I had a question on that because I watched the interview you did with Shane Cashman earlier, past couple of weeks, and y'all kind of started talking about the idea of the devil being an egregore, and you didn't really unpack it, didn't get a chance to, and I've kind of noticed as I've kind of started examining a lot of, re-examining a lot of the biblical texts that the contemporary church's like concept of the devil is kind of an amalgamation of all of these enemies of Yahweh in the Bible and all the extra canonical texts as well. Because it's like the devil's taken on the characteristics of the Nahash in the garden, taken on the characteristics of like the Hasatan in Job, Azazel in Enoch, Baal, like you list them on and on.
Yeah, dude.
So
Said
my
that's a different story.
and I don't really know kind of what to make of that, because it's like I still kind of think there probably is a chief adversary out of the creator of all of those that fell away, but also at the same time I don't know that we have a good description of what that is. And I'm just kind of curious if you can unpack the idea of the devil being an egregore. Is like, have we created an entity that is all of these things?
Yes.
You know, how does that work? Because it's like, that's just a really fascinating concept.
Well, our mental bodies are the strongest. So in the mental plane, dude, like that's where everything's working the most, right? That's where everything, all these ideas, if you subscribe to tulpas or servitors, if you study that kind, if you study tulpamancy and all that, like, yeah, dude, like these things can exist. They can manifest. Is how much intention are you putting into it? How much dedication, right? And so fear being a very strong emotion, perhaps the strongest, and I've talked about this a lot lately. I have cut out fear from my life, and what it has done is fucking incredible. When so many people fear something, all of that energy built up, all of that fear, very heavy energy, it does something. It creates a form, right? Or is there an entity there that comes in and says, oh shit, look at all this fear right here. I'm going to create this, this is kind of like a Gnostic ideology or whatever, but like, whatever, we're conspiracy theorists, are we not?
We're just playing around here. Just a couple of boys talking.
Yeah, man. It's just the boys. Yeah. Val, what's up, Val? It's good to see you. I'm glad Valkyrie's here. Shout out Valkyrie. She is, in the Babylon club. She's definitely a grapist, but she is, she's a babist as well. So shout out Babylon. All right. So I threw myself off course there.
You're talking about the way like entities, and this was something I was curious to actually hear your take on, because I know I've heard people talk about like egregores and that kind of thing, and how they come from like masses of people or
collective consciousness.
Right. Is it creating something in and of itself, or is it another entity coming in and inhabiting that thing? And you're talking about fear, and like another entity comes in.
There could be, some kind of astral elemental or some kind of, like you said, some other deity that comes in and hijacks this egregore you've created, right? Like, do you have more power, right? Like how, and that goes to, I guess, how much intention and faith, how much have you walked through the fire?
Yeah.
Right. But I did want to get back before we forget to explaining these terms are, and these different, how people interpret them and what they really are. But yeah, dude, the devil being an egregore. So when you see this red devil figure, first off, you have the horns,
right?
It's symbolic of wisdom, eternal knowledge, right? To the divine. That's like when you see Moses with his horns, it's his alchemical, because I believe Moses was an alchemist, if that was his name. And he came out of the land of Kim, right? The land of Kemet, where alchemy was originated in. And so that's why he was holding up the caduceus staff in the desert, staff of Hermes, right? And he was convening with deities in burning bushes and on mountaintops. Dude, this was an amalgamation of deities, I think, different ones. Interesting. That's my opinion, especially when you get into the mythology of Egypt, and you get into you go further back into Sumeria and stuff like that. And that goes into, and so the tail of the devil represents the lower nature, right? It's pointing down. Usually when you look down at his legs, it's something animalistic, right? It's a serpent, or it's a goat,
Right.
It's an animal. And animals, with the symbolism of animals, which, guys, tomorrow morning, Gods of the Morningwood, Manly P. Hall, Occult Symbolism of Animals, Part 2.
Oh, shit.
It usually represents our lower nature, right? What you would call your sin body, or, the devil on your shoulder, right? And so people, it may have been the Catholic Church that took this image of this red devil. Maybe somebody can tell me why they chose to use a red man. I think there's a story, or I know it's out there, about Napoleon going into the Great Pyramid and experiencing this red man, like this red entity. Huh. And it's I'm throwing that out there. Somebody in the chat can maybe
first thing I think about that when I hear that is Esau.
Okay, well they say that about Esau, but listen to me on this. I think, and this is coming from a biblical lens written by the Hebrews, right? So coming from that, the Nephilim, Esau, who was hated from the beginning. We don't know why, but he was always hated, right? Because of his red hair. He was so ugly.
They're the worst, dude.
Oh, yeah,
fucking
right?
gingers.
Yeah, my wife and kids. Yeah. It's beautiful. It's beautiful, man. I don't care. But dude, like, looking at it from their lens, this was our ancestors. This was like I think they viewed the Northmen, or tribes from the north, Germania, further than that, as these these giants who came from fallen angels or their adversarial gods to their Yahweh, who is a Canaanite storm war deity. And anyone who denies that is denying blatant truth. That is blatant truth. That's not an opinion. He was worshipped as that, and he was sacrificed to as that. Molech sacrifices. We go back to what I was talking about. You had the Satan being adversary. So there are Satans out there. You can refer to them as that, but people need to know the definition. It is just kind of like this archetype that one plays. And there could be, a Satan could be adversarial to one god, and then that god be his Satan, right? If someone's pissing you off, they could be Satan to you, right? Like, get behind me, Satan. Like Christ told Peter, get behind me, Satan, right? Because he was you're an adversary to me right now. You're adversarial to what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, and the way that's always interpreted, at least here in the Southern Bible Belt, is he's calling, he's essentially saying Peter's kind of taken over by Satan, not that Peter is acting as an adversary.
Oh,
interesting.
Well,
I feel like something's coming.
The priest of Dagon, Peter was a fisherman. Was he not a fish god? This is the thing. Some of these men wanted to be venerated as gods, and who knows if that has happened. But he was a fisherman, and when you look at the Pope hat, it's the fish mouth.
Right.
Dagon was the fish god, right? And so that comes from, but then there's that theory that the rabbis put out there that Paul and Peter were secret operatives for Judaism. We're not going to get into that, but going back to what was it? Satan, right?
Yes, that.
I mentioned Lucifer. Lucifer is Venus. It's just a planet. It's just, it has an energy to it, right? And it's a feminine energy, Venus. Now, in Rome, Lucifer was worshipped in some cults as Mars. It was just a different name, for Mars, and as the male emanation of it, right? And so all Isaiah was doing in the Bible was telling a king, how he was once he was referencing him to this great star, and then he fell.
Yeah.
That's it. Wasn't referring to a deity. There was no deity in any pantheon, people will, and in the Hebrew, especially the Jewish mysticism stuff, from the Kabbalah, the Zohar, the Midrash stuff, the getting into the Goetia, and
I don't know what any of those words meant, but yeah, totally.
there are all these Jewish mysticism books.
Okay, interesting.
What's your opinion? So I've always read that as Isaiah when he's having that indictment to the king of Babylon. What it's in Isaiah 14 or something like that. Ezekiel has the same sort of indictment to the prince of Tyre in like Ezekiel 28. I've referred that or interpreted that as they're talking about the serpent in the garden, the Nahash in the garden. Well, what's your opinion? Like, what's your take on that?
Well, there's a good book that people should buy if they want to understand Satan or Lucifer a little better. It's by Esoteric Eddie. It's called The Lucifer Mysteries Revealed. So finishing up on Satan and Lucifer, I think after people fearing them for so long, holding them in such high, fearing them as these angels, and that does something, and over time maybe it's created some type of entity, some type. But I'm sorry, John. Can you?
Yeah. So
I
you
had to finish up on that.
You had referenced Isaiah. I think it's chapter 14 is where Isaiah is sent to basically give an indictment to the king of Babylon.
Right.
And he in that entire spiel, he's using like a parable or a metaphor to the fall in the garden. Ezekiel does the same thing, and Ezekiel 28 is the prince of Tyre
in the garden, right?
I've always interpreted it as like they're talking about the Nahash.
The serpent in the garden, if you go back to Mesopotamia, it is Enki, right? The bloodline of Enki, all of his sons, they're represented by serpents throughout their mythology, right? So, and this is representative. They had horns, right? Knowledge. They depicted them with horns. It's this. It's this representation of this knowledge. And so, like I said, it's viewed kind of as this evil thing. Like when I was just talking about, the devil had the horns for knowledge, but then had the tail to represent the lower aspect of his being, with his animal legs, kind of like the Baphomet with its dualism. When you look into Jewish mysticism, it's very dualistic. All of it is. And so, and I've heard this quoted by certain, Jewish rabbis, and like they can venerate certain entities in their law because they have these dualistic qualities to them. So it's like it's okay if they venerate this dark entity because it has this nature to it as well. And in their law and their holy books, the books that they don't share with us, that's okay, but not for us because we're not chosen. And it's like, what the fuck, So you're interacting with multiple deities then, right? I mean,
right.
That's what I'm getting out of that. So like the serpent in the garden is just an interpretation of what was happening, the serpent being always symbolic of knowledge. But I don't know if it has anything to do, like I said, with Lucifer or you said the prince of Tyre.
Well, in Ezekiel 28, they do like Ezekiel does the same type of parable metaphor where he's like giving an indictment and he tells the story, of the failings of the prince of Tyre. He tells that through a parable of the fall in the garden, and it's the same thing that Isaiah references. And I've always interpreted that that story as they're talking about the fall of the Nahash.
Yes. Okay. Yes. So yeah, they could be interpreting it that way, or just the fall of just the fall of these kings, right? As falling from heaven to earth. But it very well could be related to the fall of the angels,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
In their context.
Hmm.
But I did want to finish up with y'all on what we were talking about, the Moloch, and then
Oh yeah.
what was it? What else did I explain? Or I tried at Baphomet, I think.
Yeah.
How the Baphomet is just, a depiction of, I think Eliphas Levi literally he drew it up to like troll some other guy, and to be like, yeah, you see this ugly depiction, this is our God. Yeah, sure, whatever. But it was never intended to be taken seriously, I think. And so people took this goat-headed fucking, it has tits and it has a penis and
Right.
it's that's the male and female, right? Like, and he did it grotesquely to be grotesque. A couple centuries before that, though, Heinrich Kuhnrath, another occultist, drew a similar image. I know Nick had shared it with me one time. I don't remember what image it was. So this image has kind of been, I think, redrawn throughout the ages to kind of like maybe troll people. I don't know. But it has now been taken and ran with, and could quite possibly be an entity.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
People
tracks.
Fearing this thing that doesn't exist for so long,
That now
give it
exists.
100 years, it exists. And
That's yeah.
well, lastly, Moloch. And this is something that I will, I'll die on this fucking hill. Moloch is not a deity. It's not mentioned in any pantheon. Moloch, and I've tried to find it. I'm the Elohim etymologist, guys. I tried for 2 years to find them. Couldn't find them anywhere. Moloch, or Molk, MLK. Who do we know with, we have an
Holy
MLK
shit.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hot damn.
Molk, and you see this with words in the other in other types of Hebrew language, like Melchizedek, MLK, which is like, Melchizedek's not a bad thing. And it's like, yeah, but it is in a Hebrew lens, right? So we have to remember. And so the Molk sacrifices happened in the Valley of Hinnom, or Gehenna.
Okay.
And shout out Esoteric Eddie. Again, great researcher, fucking top-notch guy. And can't wait to have him on again. You guys should reach out to him. He's a great person to have on, or buy one of his books, man. He's a great author. He came on and explained to me these terms and the research that he did. And he's like, yeah, there's no, besides in the Bible, you don't see Moloch referred anywhere outside of there, right?
Mhm.
And it's kind of the same thing with Samyaza. Outside of the book of Enoch, you see him interpreted in the Mesopotamian text, I think, as Shamgaz, if that's the same one, quite possibly.
Right.
As he was just like a lesser entity compared to all these other ones, But the Molk sacrifices were just, the Valley of Hinnom, people would go to burn their trash and to burn their babies.
Son of a bitch. Okay.
Yeah.
I've heard the trash part. I haven't heard the baby part. That sounds a little Epstein-y to me.
Well, dude, yeah. I mean, this is where the Moloch, or where it originated from. There was the bull, there was the Baal Peor, where, Baal is another one. Baal just means Lord. It comes from Bel, right?
Yeah.
And so you have Baal Peor, Baal Hamon, Baal Zephon, Baal Zebul. You have
A lot of
various
balls.
balls. Yes. And I think they all require child sacrifice, though. So if you want to refer to all of them, I'm sure you could just use the term Baal, right? But it's not people will be like the cult of Baal, and it's like, well, the cult of balls. Say that,
It's hard to say with a straight
I think
face.
people should know about the particular entities and what they represent.
Yeah.
I think it is important, especially with symbolism and everything that they're putting out there. And if people are going to, follow a Semitic religion, then they should know about some of these things in antiquity that that they're not going to be told the truth about, right? And so at Bohemian Grove, that wasn't Moloch, that wasn't Baal, that was Athena or Minerva. The owl representation is of wisdom. They were having a Molk sacrifice for wisdom because there were a bunch of fucking elite heads of state and presidents and CEOs and so people are pushing, well, they worship Baphomet and Moloch, and it's just like, all right, man, like those aren't even deities. What's happening here? And I get it's a way of maybe saying like, well, they worship these forces, and it's like, well, you can use better terminology, but what it does is it puts people in this place of fear, being fearful of some fucking goat man, right? Or some kind of like harpy that's going to come after you. It's like, no, you have power over these forces, man. You have power over these principalities, whatever you want to call them.
So I'm curious then, all of these deities, and I've heard you talk about them a couple of times. I don't get on the internets as often as I should, but we've seen a lot of conflation, and maybe this is just me being a guy who grew up in the Southern Bible Belt, but there's a lot of conflation with like the idea of paganism and the idea of Satanism and a lot of bad things that are coming out of these government people, fucking Epstein and all that shit. What do you think is actually going on there then, if they're not burning effigies to Molech at Bohemian Grove? What do you think what the hell are these people doing, and why the conflation between Satanism and paganism, these other deities? That was like 8 questions rolled into one, but yeah.
You're good, dude. No, man. So the thing with Bohemian Grove and Moloch is they are sacrificing to deities,
right?
Like I just mentioned a few,
right.
Baal Peor, I think Set. I think there were child sacrifices to Yahweh that are mentioned in the Bible. Like I said, he and Yahweh in his original pantheon is a storm war deity, and so Satan is in the Jewish dichotomy. Now you have dark forces and dark entities in other mythologies, but there's never this like adversarial figure. I guess like in Norse mythology, you could say Loki. Some people say Loki was added in the 13th century to put in an adversary. When you look at like Baal and the Molk sacrifices and all that, that was taking place in the desert. That had nothing to do with Europe.
Okay.
Yeah, those entities don't exist in Europe. Like they do now probably, but they didn't at the time. They had their own, or we had our own pantheons. Our ancestors had their own pantheons, right?
So can I pause you right there?
Yeah.
Are these entities geographically bound in some way, shape, or form?
What do you mean?
Well, you said they don't exist in Europe. Did they exist elsewhere? The language there is confusing to me.
Well, what I'm saying is, in the Semitic, in those kind of religions, like when you have Christianity, Islam, Judaism, you see it in Zoroastrianism, some of the Eastern kind of stuff. But when you get to the European pantheons, dude, you can't trace those deities.
Gotcha.
You can't. The stories you find are similar, but the symbolism, it just doesn't hold water. It's like something's wrong here. And then, of course, it's said that these things will manifest as angels of light. So that means everything beautiful is evil. It's like, okay, so if something manifests to you as this divine messenger from the Creator, and it's a beautiful entity, it's evil. That's what that dogma is, I think, putting in your head. I think you should have discernment in order to, make that decision for yourself.
I've wondered about that a time or two, because there is this idea of, and obviously I'm pretty much solely familiar with the Bible, but like this whole idea of like focus on whatever's pure, whatever's lovely, whatever's good. But then there's also the concept floated out there of like, well, bad things are going to masquerade as angels of light. So what the hell do you do there? You know, it's kind of confusing insofar as like you're supposed to meditate. You know, we push out this idea of meditate on whatever's good, whatever's lovely, but the bad things are going to come as good, lovely things. So don't meditate on those. You know, you see what I'm saying, John? You look concerned over there.
No, I see what you're saying.
But it's kind of a confusing concept.
I think we have discernment enough to trust in ourselves to be able to tell. And I'm not going to have some Jewish priests, Jewish rabbis sit in my face and tell me that I'm not, I don't have the discernment to know if this is a demon or not. No, this is
right.
Because I said it's a demon, it's a demon. You know?
Yeah.
No, like that level of elitism that pervades most like organized religions. But yeah, it's a problem. We ranted about that a couple of weeks ago, actually.
Yeah,
probably.
I mean, and like that concept is not biblical at all. It's like discernment comes from the Creator.
Well,
in a biblical context.
You with discernment, right?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. You eventually develop that.
Yeah, and well, it's also in a biblical context, it's connection with the Holy Spirit. It is, in my opinion, actually being able to listen to the Creator speak to you and tell you, hey, that's good or that's bad, and kind of say run away or don't run away, that kind of thing. It's not, in my view, it's not something that's really your own understanding at all. It's more so in a way to where you can actually connect with the Creator and listen to Him speak. When you get into the lean on your own understanding kind of view, you get in a dangerous point of like falling into your own ego sometimes. And then you I see that a lot with like a lot of the UFO people is like you kind of fall into your own ego, and now you're starting to like seeking out the things that just validate your like preconceived thought about anything.
Right.
So yeah, it's definitely not a human thing, and definitely not a thing that comes from human authority.
Yeah. Well, what I'm saying is when you look at Greece, when you look at Rome, when you look at Germania, and there are dark aspects, in every religion, right? In every culture.
Right.
But when you look at these, y'all try for the next couple of weeks to not look at them through an Abrahamic paradigm. And you may be able to see what I'm saying is that when we're told by a class of people, a priest class, from all the way back in antiquity, even in their own writings, they state that we were evil from the beginning and they hate us. When we're told our history and our culture from this one view, that I don't think that's right. I think we should be able to go in and experience our own cultures and view these things because and I will say this, it is inherently a lot of stuff that is pushed by the Jewish community is inherently anti-white.
Yeah,
it's anti-European, and so people, well, that's tied to your blood. That's an idol, and it's like, well, yeah, that's the Jews telling you that. And so it's like I have to ask these things, dude. Like I can't.
Yeah.
And y'all, I've told y'all my story. My grandfather was adopted by a Jewish family.
All right.
He was treated like shit. I just found out on his adopted father's deathbed, his actual Jewish sister went in there and got his name taken off the fucking will.
Son of a bitch.
And then when he died, she schemed with his Shabbos Goy wife, Janet, fuck you, Janet, wherever you are, I don't care, and got my mother, my aunt, God bless my aunt, she just passed last week, and my grandmother, very small family on my mom's side, left with nothing, and my grandfather doesn't even have a tombstone. These people adopted my grandfather, and so growing up, before I became an atheist as a teenager, and said fuck them, we were treated like shit by these people, even the people in our own family. When I was like, we look nothing like these people. I'm like this little blonde hair, blue eye boy,
like a good Nazi. Yeah, I respect.
Yeah, basically. And they're just, the physiognomy. I'm like, dude, what the fuck? This is not my family. I never felt it. And then we were mistreated in our Jewish community, in the one in Jackson, mistreated there because the same thing. And my dad, he would, he's not Jewish. He was raised in the Church of Christ, and my grandmother converted. And so none of my family's Jewish. So, coming from that and being mistreated and seeing from firsthand how these people act. I'm sorry,
Right.
I've had Jewish friends and I'm not saying anything about the whole community, but like I can speak on it. Sorry, but I can. I can. For anyone who has a fucking problem with it, shut your mouth.
Yeah,
I can.
I'm
I have
curious
the right to speak on it.
Yeah, I'm curious to your opinion then, because I've kind of had this kind of notice on the show as of late. It's like it seems like the culture is shifting to where they're trying to get people to notice, in a way. Is like they're trying to get people to kind of notice all the bullshit going on with Israel. They're trying, and like they've gone out of their way to like make like the meme of like the dude holding his hands with the long nose like embodied. It's like what do you think's going on with that? Because it seems to me that it's gotten way more obvious, and also as like people who would like point that out and call that out, like back 5-10 years ago, you go, if it was Owen Benjamin or whoever, like they took a lot of like flack for that, and now people like Tucker and Candace and all these other people can come in and just kind of
They're just chilling.
Take really no stones and arrows. I'm curious to what your opinion on like what's that trend and what's the purpose of it.
I'll tell you right now, it's planned anti-Semitism, and this is common in the Jewish community. You can find news articles of it. I can maybe even pull up some stuff. Like I'm not fucking with you.
Damn.
People will set fire to their businesses. They'll spray paint swastikas on it. A Jewish-owned bakery, deli, and then they'll figure out a couple weeks later it was the owner who did it, a Jewish woman. And it's like, and then in the past, it's like, if there was no anti-Semitism, it seems like it has to be created somehow, right? Or like it always, when it rears its ugly head and stuff like that. And it's like, well, but what about being anti-white? Like, I don't know. I don't really get that. But, there's I don't know, man. There's something going on to where there's a narrative put out. It has people kind of talk about, I think misinformation, right? There's a bunch of misinformation put out there, and it's kind of like they have their own controlled opposition in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is.
These people years ago, not even a decade ago, were praising Israel.
Yeah.
It's real weird. And that interview that Tucker did with Mike Huckabee was just very strange, because Tucker was he had nothing bad to say about Israel 5 years ago, to your point. And now he's roasting Mike Huckabee about singing Sweet Home Jerusalem on fucking national TV. It's like, yeah, I'm with you there, but also like when did the change of heart come?
But dude, like, and so you have to imagine, like, I don't know. I found out that I was not Jewish when I got a DNA test, and I talked about this on.
It took a DNA test for you to figure it out?
Well, well, like, you think that this thing for, you have this identity crisis, because I was also growing up. I grew up I went to a black school, and I was about that life, quite literally, in the fucking streets. And, man, it's just like, whoa, I started to get into my European culture, like, who I was, where my family came from. I'm Swedish, I'm Norwegian. I have my oldest ancestors. It's the smallest amount of DNA, but that's because they go back over 12 generations, are Greek. And so, then like, I'm like 90-something% Welsh, English, Irish, Scottish, Northwest European,
regular
Germanic.
white. Regular white. Yeah.
Well, dude, yeah. And that's why I'm like, all right, man. Like, and then you go to the Jewish, and it's like 0-0. And I was like, Mom, because like a year or two before is when I figured out that my grandfather was adopted. So I was like, holy shit, this all makes sense. And like, dude, I got my head busted open at the fucking temple one time on a high holiday by this Hasidic rabbi. And when he did it and walked past me, it's almost like he fucking meant to do it. I don't want to say that. It was weird. It but like there was a bunch of signs and omens there, you know, that I wish my mom, bless her heart, she was going through too much as it was, which they offered no help for as a religious community, right? All I heard was about how my mom had a woman living with her and how my dad didn't pay child support. It's like, yeah, I fucking know that, but y'all got to be talking about it, you know? That really, I just walked out one day. I didn't even have a bar mitzvah. I just fucking walked home.
Good for you.
Yeah, man. You know, and I there's people there who I was friends with and whatnot. I hope that they're doing great. And I'm so sorry for, you know, what's happening to their community right now. But it's like, you know, hey, dude, speak up, right?
Right.
There should be Jews speaking up, but a lot of them won't, you know, because I mean, it's well, let's be honest, man. They're race first. They care about their people over everyone else.
Right. Yeah. And that's the thing nobody wants to really say or talk about, but it's true.
Will.
And first kid to raise his hand in class, I'll fucking say it. I'll say it.
The wrong answer. I don't give a fuck.
I'll take that bullet.
This is the right answer, man. They are tribal.
Yeah,
they are tribal, just like everyone else is.
Well, and it's so weird. They're so venerated in a culture that like alleges to not be a fan of like, you know, like the whole idea of racism. But it's okay if you're just like the off brown that is the Israelites. You know, like it's okay in that regard. If you're off brown, it's fine. But if you're a different shade, it's not okay. Like it's very strange.
Well, and it's okay for them to have their own communities, so we can maintain our Jewish heritage and our bloodlines. And it's like, what the fuck? Like,
yeah.
What? Bro, if I was to say that, I'd be fucking strung up and like beaten to death. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Isn't
like
maintaining bloodlines just like inbreeding? Like, isn't that just inbreeding? Aren't you is that what you're doing?
You get into that, dude. Yeah, weird trollish people. I don't know.
Yeah.
And that's you know, something else that I think my family, you know, my grandfather's sister and her sons didn't like us for is because we are beautiful, my side of the family, and they are. I don't want to be mean, man. I'm trying.
Should we make the thumbnail of this just like a very sexy picture of Jules? Just
I have one. Dude, I actually modeled when I was like 16 or 17. I have a few headshots from it. Me in a scarf.
Oh damn!
I modeled for this place called Buffalo Peak, and it's like an outdoor store. And they didn't make me model with some black woman. You know, it wasn't some interracial ad. You know, so that's a win. Funny though. The chick I was dating at the time was like, "You can't do it again," or I'm leaving you. And I was like, "Baby, no."
Why was she weird about it? What was her problem? Jeez.
She was sort of getting a little weight towards the end there.
So she was jealous.
She was just getting a little too comfortable. Started farting in front of me and stuff, you know.
See, that's a kiss of death on a
relationship. Started talking about our kids, and I'm like, I'm a junior in high school. Fuck you.
Holy shit.
I have a kid. Oh man!
If a girl had done that to me as a junior in high school, there would have been a me-sized hole through the wall.
No, well, that would speaking of holes, she poked a couple in some condoms. But hey,
that's terrifying.
Yeah, dude, crazy. And I think her mom may have known about it too. Dude, her mom would buy me like a carton of cigarettes. Like I'd stay at their house all week. Yeah, private school chick, dude. So you know,
they're wild,
insane, fucking insane.
Yeah, I went to a private school. They were all of us were insane. I can't even put it all on them. I was insane and retarded at the same time. So yeah.
Hey, I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna grab another beer. I'll be right back.
Heard.
Talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah.
It's your show.
hopefully we can manage it. Dude, that's interesting. Like the discussion of a lot of these deities is something I've never really paid a great deal of attention to, especially growing up like super mainstream Southern Bible Belt, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of curious. So, and I guess we haven't really broached this subject yet. So, I mentioned like the conflation of like Satanism and paganism that's kind of going on out there.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of talk about like the first example I think of is like Jack Parsons and what was it like it's not Anton LaVey, it's the other guy, the other big time Satanist, shit, what's his name, Aleister Crowley, and the Dianetics guy, L. Ron Hubbard going out into the desert and like doing
Parsons, Hubbard, they were all
satanic sex
in the
rituals.
desert. Yeah.
How? But there's a lot of talk about like this weird magic these people are doing, and I cannot help but in my head think about like Mickey Mouse waving a dick-shaped wand and doing some kind of weird, sex magic. How the hell you've looked into this a lot more than the nun I have. Is it like I imagine it, or is there something more subtle going on with a lot of this? Like alleged occult magic these people are doing? Is it all bad? Like what are your thoughts on that? Because I know you've done a decent amount of looking into this shit.
Well, yeah, I think what they're doing on a large scale is bad, and it is mostly they are using things from European magic like runes and stuff like that, but they're using it with Solomonic magic. And this is what we talked about actually earlier on my show today, the difference between Germanic paganism and like Norse paganism and that of like the Wicca culture, right? Like the hot topic Wiccan kind of trying to be edgy. Right. You could even throw that in there with like
the twisted emo kid,
the Lemites and like they have all the books from Barnes and Noble that are on spells and fucking but like and I know there's probably some people who are in those communities who are serious, and I don't want to say anything about them, but there's a lot of LARPing going on over there, and you see it a lot in the left wing, right? But they're not really venerating the same deities that are venerated in Germanic paganism. If they are venerating any of those, they're the darker ones, right?
Okay.
Because like I said, in all other cultures besides the Abrahamism, there is really no Satan figure. Like there's chaos serpents, there's giants that are not nice. There's a bunch of like adversarial figures, but there's no like main like Satan is going to come back and try to like, there is no, so there's, which is I think kind of a pro of it, because it's kind of like, there's not this fear there, right? Like this figure there that you have to always, the real thing that we need to be wary of is our lower nature of ourselves, right? We have to keep ourselves in check. We can't be worried about this guy over there. We let the divine do the things, their own things in their realm, right? And so we I mean, the things you do on the physical plane could affect the astral plane or anything else, right? Like the etheric planes or whatever you want to say. But yeah, man, I mean, I think there's a huge difference in people practicing their ancestral faith and people kind of just taking all this different types of paganism and occult magic and esoteric studies and kind of creating their own religion out of it in a way. Their own, like they're practitioners, right? So they're creating their own rituals and they're picking and choosing, right? It's kind of what when you're researching as a mystic, there's some things that you take with you. There's some things you leave behind, right?
So what is the fundamental difference then between the regular folks out there, let's say practicing their ancestral religion, and this may be kind of a dumbass fundamental question, and Hillary Clinton in a closet eating babies? Like I know that sounds stupid, but like what's the difference between the deities that are in? Is it just the intention that is involved?
It is the intention, but it's not the same, not even the same pantheon of deities. That's what I was talking about the Levant, the Semitic pantheons, right? They're I think completely different than a lot of the European, those pantheons as archetypes, as energy, as egregores, as everything, I think but then when, it says all these things that manifest as beautiful are actually evil. And so all these ancient depictions of our ancestors and these heroes from these sagas and everything that's depicted, it's like, no, those are Nephilim, and, they worship demons and all that stuff. And it's like I said, this is, your enemy telling you this. And so you need to do your own research on it. You know what I mean? And when I say your enemy, I don't mean like, oh, your enemies are the Jews. I mean, like, when you look into the people who wrote, the Jewish dogma, they have a hatred for Europeans. It's blatant. There's no pussyfooting around it, right?
Right. That's a fun term. I miss that term.
There's a lot of terms that we used to have that just don't exist anymore. I think we need to bring them back.
Yeah, louder than two skeletons fucking on a hot tin roof. That's a good one.
That's a good one, dude.
Yeah,
that's a banger.
Yeah.
Dang.
It's fucking great. I heard a girl at work say it, and I think I'm gonna adopt it.
But hey, dude, like, but the thing is like, I just started like researching ancestral faiths. Like, I'm not a pagan. I wouldn't call myself a Christian either. I have called myself a Christian mystic, because I have, used Christian mysticism in my life, right? And I have experienced things now, but as you grow, especially researching the esoteric, and you have you encounter spiritual things in your everyday life. Like I said, your opinions shift, and I've always said that on my show. I've always said, my opinion may be different next week on this if I encounter something or research more information that points to this, or so like, I don't know. I don't really like any labels, but I may not be the best one to speak on the ancestral faiths, right? Since I'm just now getting into them.
Well, I mean, you're certainly in a better position than John or I to speak on them for sure.
But when it comes to the deities and get, kind of connecting, like, who's worshiping who, and I can throw my hat in there because, like, dude, I've done the research. I have, regardless of what people want to say in their own mind, their own research that they've done. I've done the research inside and outside the paradigm and all around, dude. Like, it's wild. And I still don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Right? We talked about this earlier. Like, we don't know shit, dude. This is just us having conversations. Just some dudes, right? Just asking questions.
Just asking some strange questions, and that's one of those things where like a lot of it's where institutionalized religion pisses me off constantly. This whole co-opting of like people's spiritual nature and turning it into something that to me appears like twisted and evil seems highly problematic. But I am curious then, like, in all of that research, have you, like, is there, because in Western, I guess most Westerners probably still attribute themselves to Christianity in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Is there a chief, in your research? Is there a Zeus? Is there a god figure? Is there a Jupiter, or is the nature of what you're looking into fundamentally different than the way I think most of us would typically look at that?
Well, I believe in a supreme creator, right? The Ouroboros, the snake eating itself. People are like, oh, it's the snake. It's like, oh, all right, dude, that represents the supreme creator, right? It's nonstop. It's eternal.
Yeah.
So I believe in a creator, and I believe that these entities, these deities, are emanations of the creator. And each nation or people have their own pantheon. And, the Jews have their own pantheon, and most of the world venerates it.
Yeah.
And so, what does that do? That empowers a people, that makes that gives them a spiritual advantage, I think. Not looking at them as gods or anything. I'm just saying, like, when you, and I'm we don't have to get into, Christianity and stuff, because like I said, there's a lot of things I've learned from Christ and from especially Christian mysticism the
Mhm.
esoteric meanings of the things with Christ. Like there's a lot there though that a lot of fundamentalist Christians will not even look into at all. And it's like, dude, this is like, like there's we had Ike Baker on the Occult Rejects, who is I think an Orthodox Christian, Eastern Orthodox. He's in the Golden Dawn.
I don't know what that is. What's the Golden Dawn?
It's the Order of the Golden Dawn. It's an occult order.
Oh shit!
But he's a Christian. He does Christian magic. Nick has experience with Catholic magic. Yeah, dude. Like there's books that people don't know about. Like there's occult text out there that and this is in the past, right? Like these guys are like 50 years older than me. I'm just kidding.
Right.
Much older than me. Love you, Nick. But there's text out there that are kept hidden for a reason, and then we go, well, they should release them to everybody. I don't think they're meant for everybody. I think people who seek them shall find them. You know what I mean? And
Sure.
This knowledge, I think, could be used for your advantage or to your detriment.
Right.
Like you attain these material things. Yeah. But what does that do? That probably eats away at, the opposite of the material, right? That the spiritual is that eat away at your spirit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If it's like the pulling the sword from the stone, your sword being your divine presence, your spinal cord, right? And the stone being that base, that material world,
Right. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, man. And once you finally pull that sword from that stone, you become this initiated, enlightened,
Does a chiropractor help with that if I'm pulling my spine out of a stone? I've been seeing one lately.
You pull some fucking Merlin pops up in the corner of the room. It's like,
that'd be great.
Your chiropractor is Merlin. He's like, we finally done it. No, I don't know, dude. If y'all checked out, I streamed I can't talk. Excalibur, 1981, I think, on Rumble a few weeks ago.
Shit, I'm gonna
Great
watch
fucking
that.
movie. Best esoteric interpretation of the Arthurian mysteries that you're going to get in cinema. And Helen Mirren was a babe. I know she's old as shit.
Yes, she was.
She was a fucking babe. She was playing Morgana in it, Arthur's sister.
Right.
Dude, you could put that black magic on me all day. That's what I tell my wife. I'm just kidding.
I've never seen that. I'm gonna watch it now though.
Dude, no, you should. You definitely should. Don't watch it on my channel because I talked through half of it.
I mean, I feel like that I'm gonna have to watch it on your channel because I'm never gonna do the research otherwise. So that's probably gonna be the only option.
There's that, and there's so much about, because there's people now who are like, well, it's all symbolic and it never happened. And it's like, well, I don't know, because I think King Uther, Pendragon, and Pendragon was their last name, which literally meant chief of the dragon,
Right.
the serpent. But King Arthur is this Christ figure in this myth. Well, he's not the Christ figure. He is the physical force behind the Trinity. There's a Trinity in the King Arthur myth. There's him. I think I may have explained this to y'all before. Y'all may have heard it on the show. There's him who represents the physical force. And this is a kind of Gnostic theme. There's Merlin who represents the spiritual. And then there's Galahad who represents the Christ figure, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay. I see
young
that. Yeah.
initiated knight who and dude, like there's so much in, like, with Sir Lancelot and Sir Gawain with the Green Knight, the Green Man. I think this dude literally encounters the Green Man and has this I'm sure the whole thing's esoteric. I need to look into that more to interpret it better. But and then there's what was his name? What was his name, dude?
Merlin?
Knight. He had this one knight who was a pagan knight.
Oh shit! There's Galahad.
Palamedes. Yeah. And then there's Galahad. There's Gawain. There's Lancelot. There is oh man, I don't know. Shame on me. I should know all of them by now, right? Yeah, I don't know. It'd be a lot cooler if I did. It'd be a lot cooler if I did. What about the British Edda? What are you talking about, tyranny? Which British Edda?
I don't even know what Edda is.
Well, the Eddas are the like. There's the Norse Eddas. And y'all should read them, dude. Y'all are, dude. Read them.
We're babies in this world. Yeah,
Bro,
we're just getting into it.
Download the PDF of the Poetic Eddas. Read the Valispa, like it's the creation story, and read.
Okay.
I'm reading the Volsunga saga right now, which is of the Volsungs, the kings of Norway, and the king of Jutland, or I think Denmark, comes and kills their. And it's the story of Sigmund and his sister, and then his son, Sigurd, or is it Siegfried? Yeah, it's Sigurd. Slays a dragon, and then his daughter gets married to Ragnar Lothbrok, and then like they have their 4 sons. So it's like this line from these ancient kings in these stories that we're not taught about as kids, as young white kids. We should be reading the sagas, dude. We should be reading like the Ovid, and like, my co-host Headless Giant, he is actually a Hellenist. He venerates Zeus and Dionysus and all, and having a show with him and kind of seeing things through his lens, man, it's helped me understand a lot of these ancient myths a lot more, dude. Like it's and they're beautiful. That's the thing. And when they take these and bastardize them, like I brought up earlier with Midsummer, there's a lot of other movies that A24 does of European, old European rituals and these esoteric stories. Look at who owns A24.
Oh, is it another hook-nosed?
Oh, no, just take a look at who owns A24, and you'll see why these movies are what they are, and how, and this has been pushed. Our culture has been subverted for at least the past 100 years, to where women with red hair are witches, and it's just
fucking gingers,
dude. Look, I have a house full of them. So there's nothing I can do. I'm here. I'm dying for them. So
yeah, you're fucked. Well,
I'll die for all my ginger brothers and sisters.
I'm honored. Damn.
No, dude. The last frontier. He a real Sigurd. Hey, Q's a real Sigurd. Yeah, no. Shout out Sigurd. Big ups. Probably half of us are descended from him. So, glad he did what he did. But these are stories of heroes, and like these like, dude, these are, as if I were to read these like when I was younger, dude, there's no telling how it would have inspired me. Maybe not to do the right things though, depending on where I was, right?
So who knows?
There's a reason that I got, and like I'm 33 right now, like I'm realizing a lot of this in my 33rd year of living. And I do not think that it's not a fucking coincidence.
Yeah.
No, hell yeah. Coincidences. They don't exist on Greypilled. So I don't know if they exist on your show, but
not at all.
Yeah,
they don't. And one of the things I'm always curious about from other people's perspective is all of the I wouldn't even call them coincidences. All of the similar stories in a lot of these mythologies, be it like Zeus and Jupiter, be it Mars and what is it, Ares?
Mars and Ares, and
all of are these the same deities? Or the Epic of Gilgamesh and Noah, right? Like same fucking story. They're all repeated.
Would be related more to a son of Enki. Now it says in the story that he was created by Enki and by Nintu, who is a creation goddess. But excuse me, when you look into like a little farther back than that, Enki is the one seeding half of humanity. It's they blame all these fallen angels, but Enki's back behind the curtains like, shit, they didn't see me. All right. And you know what I mean? Like he's like mating, like, and that's where he goes with like Zeus turning into a swan and like mating with the women, and I mean it which could all be symbolic, right? But dude, I mean, like I said, if you go further back than Egypt, like it in our time frame, 6,000 years, bullshit. I think the Earth is hundreds of thousands, not millions of years old. I think we have had epics of humanity and civilization on this planet that we do not know about, perhaps.
Fair enough.
Yeah. like I said, everyone has their own creation myth. And so
Yeah.
everyone, because of, growing up with the Bible, they want to subscribe to the one lens. And like I said, that's okay if people want to do that, man. I'm just, throwing out there what I've experienced. Right?
Yeah. Well, and it's weird how a lot of those people, they want to just subscribe to the one lens, but they want to bend over backwards to make sure that lens fits with whatever nonsense is coming out of NASA or whatever. And they're also like, they're so uncomfortable and will get downright angry and turn into absolute, the polite word is cunt bags. I can't think of a better term. If somebody challenges their beliefs but they will allege in the same breath to say, well, yeah, it'll hold up to challenging. It'll hold up to scrutiny. Well, why are you worried about it, motherfucker? What are you concerned about?
Yeah, and they won't really examine any of the other things outside of that. But I think it's a failure. It's why I want to look into all of this, because it's like the Bible's creation myth is kind of written and told in the same time period as all of these others.
Yeah,
it's like they're kind of coinciding with each other.
The
and like
Old
for the
Testament is actually, in my opinion, an amalgamation of many different ancient texts all put into one. The Egyptian Book of the Dead, the Enuma Elish, the Atrahasis epic, like all these different stories, up until a certain point, because the Bible was all written at different times.
Right.
And then they did a big edit of it and put it out. And the first Christians couldn't even read. So they were getting read to from these, well, you can call them priests, but they were Jewish.
right.
Christians were Jewish. And actually, I've heard of this recently. I mean, I've heard people discuss this recently. Christianity actually, when it was first invented, was for Jews. You know?
Yeah.
And then there's an argument with Paul, which, I think most people should consider themselves Paulites if they're not going to go with the esoteric interpretation. Like, I think if you ignore the esoteric interpretation of Christ and, our higher nature and all, basically the Christ consciousness stuff people want to demonize so much and have called New Age, I think that you're missing the point if you don't consider that. I think that's a big aspect of it.
I haven't looked into that enough to really formulate much of an opinion, but I definitely
think the fact that so many people push back against it in the mainstream makes it credible. We're starting to see that. Watch the people who y'all have questioned for years now start pushing some of the narrative that you may find yourself agreeing with, and do a little
that always
agree with that narrative.
Yeah, that always kind of throws me for a loop when I see stuff that I've looked into now as like some type of mainstream corporate bought out person is selling it to me. Definitely should give you pause to like look into it a little bit more.
Well, I brought up Bohemian Grove earlier, and I've also said recently, and shots fired. I don't think Alex Jones snuck in.
I think he was welcomed in with open arms.
He was welcomed in with open arms, and they were even more welcome to the fact of him acting like he was sneaking in and recording a human sacrifice and scaring half the world to fucking death. And that probably did more for them than that sacrifice alone.
Yeah.
That big fucking Loosh, that big Loosh pool, dude. I'm telling you, man, this stuff is all, these people are actors, dude. Alex Jones is an actor, guys. Candace Owens is an actor. Ian Carroll's an actor.
Yeah, and they're actors. I don't even know if they know it. Like,
Bro, I have 1,300 followers on Twitter after 2 years. I don't care.
I mean, yeah, sure.
I don't care if I lose followers, dude. Like, fuck it at this point. And I am not suicidal. I have a beautiful family. I'm very fulfilled and very happy. And I'm about, and if my path is aligned correctly, this next year, y'all will be seeing me streaming every day. So let's just say that.
Hell yeah.
Sweet.
Yes, sir.
Hell yeah. I love to hear that.
Yeah, man.
Love to hear
Hopefully, fingers fucking crossed, man. I'm betting on it though. It's got plans in the works.
It's exciting. Damn.
Yeah, I love my wife's family, man. If I get this opportunity, then talk about it in the future. But I don't want to count my chickens before they hatch. But It'll be life-changing for me and my kids, my wife, and a lot of shit will get going. And hopefully I'll own some land in the future and we can have Greypilled Fest. Grape Fest.
Bunch of grapists,
We're not
as they say.
Grape Fest. No. That'll probably be shut down. The cops will be like, "What's this Grape Fest?" Like, it's just and they'll be like, "Why'd you name it that?"
Yeah, that would be it's
My
like that
audience
whitest kids
wouldn't
you know
even-
video of the grapist who's gonna grape kids in the mouth. That's
Grape you in the mouth.
I'm gonna grape you in the mouth.
Dude, that I have to get that video on in MP4 and start playing that like after shows and stuff.
Oh, that would be great.
Just as a tribute to Trevor Moore, and like put on there afterwards, like R.I.P. Trevor Moore.
Is he dead?
Dude, he was found dead in his backyard, like randomly. Like, dude had a kid, and like was married, and
Damn.
that guy was talking about what we're talking about now, like 15 years ago.
Good heavens.
I don't know if it was that long ago. When did Trevor Moore die, guys? Let me know in the chat.
Damn. R.I.P.
But man, like, I don't know, man. People just the reason I talk about these entities and these deities so much is just people need to watch who they give all their power to.
Yeah.
Do research, figure out who you are praying to, because like I said, dude, regardless of Yahweh is a Canaanite deity. There's no getting around that. There were child sacrifices to Yahweh in the Bible. I don't think that has changed.
Yeah, can you unpack that a little bit more? This is the first time I've really heard
Not
that.
only
I've
that,
heard people make the comparison of Yahweh to
you never heard of sacrifices to Yahweh?
I've heard of that, but making the comparison of Yahweh to a Canaanite deity. Outside of I've heard people compare him to
he's a son of El.
Yes, that's what
He's a son of El, brother of Baal, Mott, Mott, Dagon, Dagon I think is a brother of El. Inky. No, I think he's a brother of Baal, Mott, and Anat, and Yam.
That's a fun name. I like that.
Yam's pretty cool. Yeah. No, we have to I need to do something on the Canaanite pantheon. We need to make a shirt or something. Subliminal, if you're out there, you need to we'll do a yam shirt. Is it got yams? I don't know. But dude, like, especially when you read the Ugaritic text and the ball cycle and all that, like, some dark stories, dude. Like, Yahweh's fighting his brother for supremacy and stuff, and it's like, this is the creator. He's a jealous God. I don't know, man.
Yeah, I heard an interpretation of biblical text a while back. I think it was like my third senior year of college or something like that. And
he had 5 of them.
I did.
How much money do you
dude, so fucking much. Yeah, it's bad. It's real bad. We're working on it.
That's good.
It's fun being a broke fuck. I love it. But join the Patreon, folks. I'm poor. So
Patreon. Let's fucking go, dude.
That's right.
I got it pulled up. I promise I won't forget.
That was a good mid-show plug. Good job.
Yeah. He had 5. He was a true 5th-year senior.
I was a senior for 5 years. Yeah,
it cost him a ton of money, and that's why you should join the Patreon.
That's exactly right. That's going to be our new plug moving forward. But I heard a breakdown of like some of the stories of the Israelites' campaigns against all of these other nations. And that compared to the way the guy seeded it was that compared to the other deity they were worshiping prior to that, who was like considered to be like a more benevolent deity, and then he alleged like some other deity came and essentially took the place of the god they had been worshiping, and asked them to go kill a bunch of kids, kill a bunch of women and children, and do all the things they did. And the way I've heard most people unpack that is, they were murdering off some kind of demon spawn, and so it was okay to kill babies. But I didn't know if you had another take on that.
Well, I mean, they talk about that. I mean, that's the same. That's Yahweh, man. That's Yahweh telling them that if he opposes the nation, if they oppose the nation of Israel, then you in wartime you have the right to kill all men, women, and children, and livestock, animals, and blessed is he who smashes the infant's head upon the rock.
Son of a
That's
bitch.
not very European, bro.
No.
Like, forgive me if I'm wrong. I'm not. But the only sacrifices going on, besides like if there was, I don't know much about the Drots and the Druids. Their certain rituals they did, up at Uppsala, but before war, the pagan tribes would sacrifice their enemies in front of their enemies to their gods. So I mean, I'm sorry, but based when you're living in ancient times, because guess what? The Israelites did the same thing, I'm sure.
Yeah, right.
So, why should I not say like, oh, hey, why should I reject my ancestry or my for this, but they did the same thing. And if not, still doing the same thing. What does Holocaust mean again? Burnt offering?
Something like that.
Who is that a burnt offering to? Who received burnt offerings in the past? Was it a particular Baal? Was it Yahweh? These are the Molech offerings, right? The Molech sacrifices we were talking about. So,
jeez.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Sorry if that tonight may have been a lot, man. I'm
not
still
bad.
learning.
Yeah, no, it's interesting.
Yeah.
And I'm researching. I'm doing unbiased research, and that's what led me to this. Man, was like, I asked for discernment from Christ, and eventually I'm just, I start to find out all these truths, and it's, it's changed my opinion on some things, but I'm still the same person, still.
Yeah, I think I said this on the show the other day, but I guess I'm gonna fucking say it again. Like we had a talk with a guy. His name's Tyler, and I guess maybe his journey is not the same as yours, but there's this whole idea that I have, I guess, of like people who have taken the time to, in a lot of cases, I think typically move away from whatever faith they were handed as children, be it Judaism or Christianity or whatever the hell you were handed as a child. I don't know.
Yeah.
And legitimately explore, like legitimately experience a search for truth in light of a lot of like the hate, the vitriol, like, the shit you're going to go through as a result of that, especially if you do it in any kind of public fashion, typically end up with a more real based faith and understanding of reality than people, like me, not to make myself have to be this little bitch, but who just like kind of waltzed through kind of holding the same candlestick their whole life, because you legitimately, it's legitimate trial by fire. Mm-hmm. It's legitimately going out and experiencing kind of the not to sound like a Jordan Peterson cuck, but like experiencing the hero's journey, so to speak. Like going through the trials and tribulations that you will experience, trying to legitimately find truth, veritas. Like what, we had somebody on our show a long time ago say like truth is what is, trying to figure out what is,
Yeah.
That hero's journey, like, there's some Bible stories where you find something similar, but it's not like it is in the sagas and stuff. They're not out there slaying dragons and like it's kind of like I don't know. They find some way to please God and then they are saved. And it's like, okay, well, these other guys are out here like fighting wars and, fighting for their people, for their folk. And like, these stories of even in Greece, like the Odyssey and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, that's our culture, dude.
Yeah, and there's something about that appeals on a very deep level to the human condition. Like
that's our story.
Yeah,
as white men, as Europeans, that's our story. And people will say, "Well, the Greek was by the Mediterranean. It is still Europe."
Right? Yeah.
I mean, hell, I didn't know I had Greek in me, but there you go.
Didn't know it last night either. Sorry.
Well, yeah, dude. I mean, I think it's important that we look at our ancestral past, not in the lens of someone who hates us.
Yeah, that's another interesting
someone
thing.
Who calls us
I'm not trying to keep you all night, but like
you're good.
I hear a lot of people who are super interested in their like their heritage and their ancestral past, I for one have never given two flying fucks. I quite frankly could not care less where I came from, and I've never cared. Like I'm just like I am who I am now. I'm here. I'm gonna figure out what life looks like moving forward. But I'm curious as to what spurns people to want to continue to investigate that, because maybe it's just like outright arrogance that I just am not even remotely concerned with, my past. It could be like a, childhood trauma. My dad was an absolute asshole. My mom's a schizophrenic, but like I've never been concerned about it ever. I've never worried about it. Like I don't care where my family came from. I don't care where they hailed from. I'm just like, I'm here now. And like all I have to affect is the future. Why am I worried about what a bunch of dead people did? And so I'm curious as to somebody, obviously you have a very different perspective. Yes. So I'm curious as to why you're as concerned with it as you are.
Well, I think blood DNA and blood memory exist. I think our ancestors reincarnate through us spiritually. Not like you would think, like, like them having some experience as they know it's them, right?
Yeah,
from the past. But like it kind of amalgamates to this one consciousness, maybe, right?
Yeah.
I've kind of viewed it as that. It was me realizing that, I'm 0% Jewish and that I'm 100% European, and that, I was raised in a mostly black community I was very, you could say anti-white. And then, my father-in-law was murdered by a black kid, and that radicalized me to a point, that it made me care about white people more, it made me care about our race more. And then as I started to get into where I come from, my DNA, I find it fascinating. And, I realized that me and my wife, centuries back, our families may have been the same in England, which is funny. You talked about that earlier. It's like, yeah, these people just married like the next person over, like, the town. They could have been third, fourth cousins, but like, it was like, that's how
it was cool back then.
Man, that's how it was.
It was chill.
And man, it's now the fact that like 100 years ago, we were a third of the population on this planet. And now we are getting, 7%.
Damn.
That's
really
scary. You didn't know that?
That's alarming.
Yeah, man.
That's alarming.
That is one of the things that, I fear.
Yeah. The gingers are even a smaller percentage of that. So we're fucked. Like,
if we go, then our history goes, our culture goes, Christianity definitely goes.
Right.
Anything that has brought civilized society to what it is today, unless it's in these other countries, I don't know how civilized some of them are, but I guess you could exclude places like Japan, but I'm just saying, it's something that dawned on me, especially now that I have kids.
Right.
And
I'm sure that changes
the propaganda being pushed. Oh, I'm sorry. What's up, brother?
No, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, you see the propaganda being pushed, trying to eliminate us.
Yeah.
You see it every day, whether it's in an ad, whether someone, it's a viral video, or, they'll expose, this white guy that did some crazy shit who us as a community would completely condemn. And if not fucking publicly execute him. Right.
Yeah.
But then when it's the other way around, it's like, no, they built like, they make a GoFundMe and they like, it's like, this kid's that Austin Metcalf kid that got stabbed at that track meet. You had a lot of black people on Twitter just being like, yeah, he deserved it. Fuck that kid. And it's like, what?
Yeah. In what world is that okay?
Yeah. They're acting that way because they're tribal, right? They don't care if that kid was in the wrong. He's black. So they're going to have his back. And unfortunately, we have been programmed, and maybe our altruism, maybe, and I don't want to get into IQs, but hey, but we've been programmed to do the opposite. We care. We feed countries who are starving when our own people here, our own, folk here can't eat, or, we have places like North Carolina or somewhere in Texas or Florida that are still in disarray. People don't have houses. Hell, Yazoo City, half the fucking place is demolished,
Yeah.
And, it's just like, I don't know, man. You just, you see it. And if you don't take a stand for it, who the fuck is going to? Because I'll tell you this right now, no other race will stick up for you. And if they do, it's for fucking clicks. So they won't stick up for you or your children. And then when it comes down to it, it's for my kids. It's for every other white person's kids. And it's not to say that I don't care about other races' kids, but it seems like their future is secure.
Right. They can get into Harvard. They'll be fine.
They can get a job.
Yeah.
They can, they can thrive in their own community.
Right.
Can ours?
Without fear. Yeah. Because I worry every time I open my mouth in certain scenarios, depending on where I am. And that anything I say is going to be taken the wrong way. It's this idea of like censorship based on kind of what you look like. It's very strange. And John, you sounded like you had a question. I don't want to.
Yeah, I'm curious because it's like a lot of what you're saying. There's a lot of truth in that, but you also run across a very big danger that I think that they're trying to push on people. Is this kind of? I think the Metcalf story is like a perfect example of this, of trying to like create this combat of like race and ethnicity. And they're trying to manipulate people to do that as well. So it's like, how do you balance and like avoid falling into the narratives that they obviously want us to fall into, but while also like kind of keeping a hold of a lot of what you're saying, which is, very true. Well, I found that for me, like that's a very difficult thing to navigate because it feels like they just want to pull me into,
when the
into
kid
all
gets
that,
murdered, and then his dad comes out and the first thing he says is he forgives the black kid. There's something very wrong with that. I don't care what faith you are, dude. Fuck that.
That's like Renee Good's stepfather came out and was like, yeah, I'm cool with it. It's whatever.
Dude, yeah. Look, dude, you will never see or hear me doing some cucked shit like that, man. I think that's pathetic. And I think he should have stood up for his son and his other son, who probably looked at his father and went, wow, what a weak man, and it breaks my fucking heart. Like I said, my father-in-law was taken from me by this fucking monster. And, that kid, he's in prison now for over 40 years, and he's in there assaulting guards. We get updates whenever he gets moved. He got moved to like this fucking this top. Like I'm like, that's damn, crazy. Dude, you're only like 20. Your whole fucking life away.
Yeah.
That's brutal. And I guess I lost my train of thought. Damn it. Sorry. That was full on retard right there.
No,
wow.
You're good. He was at when it happens to you, man, it just, you can't help but feel like I said, I was raised around black people. I was in a gang. Like I was a rapper, is
there still some music out there? Can we listen to a Jules original?
I will find you something to listen to. I'm going to be honest with you. It's not anything you'd expect. You'd be like, is this a white guy? And like, it's very like lo-fi, like 90s Memphis rap.
Nice.
Yeah, like super underground, very dark and murderous. Songs titled "Victim of a Homicide" and "Grab My Mask," stuff like that.
Wow.
I was a very angry person. And that goes back to like, I was an atheist. I was like probably channeling some entity. But bad shit was happening to me, man.
Yeah.
And I can never, well, obviously now I know, right? Like I was just living like shit. I was making terrible decisions. I wasn't being a good father or husband. I was a young father, but, which stayed with me for so long. I don't want to get into that anyway. That's got over that. Me and my son are cool. He's 12. He's based as fuck. So very proud of the kid he's become. Yeah, man. I try to give myself a pat on the back every now and then.
That's pretty cool. And I think we have experienced this. Well, two things I'm curious about. How much do you ascribe to the whole idea of like, kind of the Peterson-esque and I hate that I brought him up twice tonight. I haven't talked about him in fucking forever. But this whole Peterson-esque concept of like a lot of these spiritual teachings are there, maybe so that when you manifest those, it will simply like do good things for your life. The idea of like, well, clean your damn room. You gotta clean your room. You'll do a good job if you clean your room.
That's why I say the teachings of Christ, like especially if you're in a dark place.
Yeah,
because I wouldn't just hand somebody the Volsunga saga if they're like coming out of rehab and stuff and be like, hey, yeah, take on the warrior spirit. You know what I mean? Like that guy may go rob a gas station and then go blow his brains out.
Right.
And so
do a little raping on the way. Yeah.
But I think there's, you let people choose. I mean, I don't know. Maybe in the day and age that we're in, most people need that, right?
I think they do. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think they absolutely do.
So like I said, for people to do their own research, I'm not trying to pull anyone away from their faith. It helped me in a time where I needed it.
Yeah.
Right.
What's this idea of imposing structure on chaos, which is probably very similar, and this is me, again, talking directly out of my butthole, but probably very similar to a lot of mythological stories to the best that I'm aware. Like this whole idea of chaos existed, Pandora's box, or fucking there was nothing before, the creation of the world or whatever it happens to be. Some deity came along and imposed order on that chaos. You've got to do the same in your own life, Yeah,
but you got to be, yeah. Oh yeah, dude. Well, that's what I say. I said it on the last episode with y'all. You got to be Hermes stepping on Typhon, dude. You got to grab that chaos serpent, choke the shit out of him. Fucking, stealth on. Yeah, dude. And there's many names for that chaos serpent, right? So, but yeah, dude. Like I said, there's a lot that I, especially when esoteric Christianity and Christian mysticism and learning how to incorporate all these other esoteric themes and then learn about all this other stuff. Like it helped me immensely. But,
right.
As you grow, you learn new things, right? Your consciousness expands, it develops. And so that's always been the goal on Greypilled. Episode 5 of Greypilled is Yahweh a dragon? So
damn.
Yeah, man, we've come along, and I think Yahweh is the. I know we're probably almost done. I'm gonna throw this out there: is the Egyptian deity Set, but it's my opinion.
We're gonna have to get you back on to talk about that because I feel like that would take a long time.
You may have to bring Headless Giant on with me.
Fair enough. I mean, whatever we've got to do. But that's
kind of a theory me and him have been talking about with the Hyksos. So people will say, just real quick, people will say, "Oh yeah, well, because it'll be like, where are the Jews in the Egyptian history? They're not written in there anywhere." And people, well, they wrote them out the history because they're their enemies. Yeah, right. Okay, what the fuck ever. And so there's someone in there named the Hyksos, and there was this nomadic group of people who caused riots. And they worked, but like it wasn't. It's not the Exodus story that was painted, but this, the adversary of Egypt, the one God who could curse Egypt and have all those plagues happen would be Set, brother of Osiris, who was the ruling deity of Egypt at the time. So him killing Osiris and then him drowning the Pharaoh and all that and his army. That's just symbolic, I think, of the drowned god Osiris. They're disrespecting their god. We drowned your king just like we drowned your god. It's very religious or like esoteric coded kind of But it's theories. Like I said, it's nothing written in stone, but that's just interpretations. Just after reading these other texts, man, and from these other cultures and mythologies, people put themselves inside a box. I'm telling you, get the fuck out that box, man. And at least look at it for yourself. Stop relying on, other people's interpretations and looking through other people's lens.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, man. Be your own hero.
I like that. We need to get a sticker made of that. I like that.
You can do put my fucking little face on it or something. I don't know. Y'all do some Veritas Road sticker with some Greypilled theme. I don't
might
know.
have to do that. Yeah, that's a good
You
idea.
guys have my permission to do whatever you want. If you want to put my face or any of my things, take one of my designs and redo it as the Veritas Road. I don't give a shit. You guys are my boys. So
Oh man, thank you for doing this. This has been a blast. This has been
Yeah,
fun.
dude, my mind's kind of
Absolutely,
like
man.
racing,
Thank y'all
not
for having me
like
on,
a
brother.
million miles an hour.
Ugh.
It's a lot of shit to look into.
Always fun. Yeah. All right. Well, folks, hopefully you are less overcome with just I feel retarded right now. So thank you for listening. We appreciate it. Be sure
You
to
manifest
go
that in a real way when you feel
I do. Yeah, I really
It's
do.
impressive.
It's a Down syndrome flare up. They said I was going to be Down syndrome.
That's getting clipped in the next Greypilled edit. Just so you know, that's definitely getting clipped in the next. Like at the very end, I'm gonna have. I love you.
Just
guys.
happens sometimes.
Thank y'all for having me on, dude.
Hey, dude,
Oh,
thanks
man.
for coming on. It's
Anytime.
always an interesting conversation.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
learn a ton of shit every time we talk to you. Which
I love
granted,
that you
it's just been
guys
twice
just
now.
let me talk, and you just let me fucking whatever's on my mind, whatever schizo theory I've been, cooking up.
Hey, that's the whole idea. It's just learning shit, man.
Yeah.
And who better to learn from than the people who are out there doing the actual research, you know?
Yeah.
That's the goal. That's what we're here for. We're here for it
Fuck yeah, man.
all the time. So, folks, go check out all of Jules' stuff. Go check out the Veritas Road Patreon. It's still on sale for 33% off right now, $2 a month. What more could you ask for? We're going to do the hard launch of that on Tuesday. Soft launch is still going on, so go check that out. Follow us on all the places at the Veritas Road. Like and subscribe to us, to Greypilled. You will not regret subscribing to Greypilled. What do we have coming up, John? I've already forgotten. We have
We're back on Tuesday. and
Touch Me
then-
Tuesdays.
Yeah, we've got Tyler coming in on Thursday, and then Tim should be coming on from 6th Century at some point this month. He booked on the 9th, but we've got to reschedule on him because we had something that I forgot to book off on our calendar. So
Right.
it's on me.
So yeah, Tuesdays for Touch Me Tuesdays. We'll be back. Hard launch of the Patreon will be that day. We're
I'll push
revealing
that
our new sticker
Patreon
designs.
launch too, brother. I'll try to get some people in there because Tomcat from Strange Brew, y'all need to have him on. He's a good
It's another
guy.
name to write down.
Yeah, I watched
Strange Brew podcast.
I
His
watched
page-
your show
his-
with him the
his
last
page-
time when
dude,
you did.
he's incredible. Y'all need to go on one of his episodes with him, and he'll be like, "Hey, we're gonna talk about this. If y'all want to talk about this during this time," and so he has like these presentations he sets up, and it's
damn.
it's fucking great, man.
Hmm.
It's great. He's a great dude, and love Tom. He's been a big part of Greypilled. He's been on. We've done a lot of shit together. So but his Patreon is like $3.50. So I tell people, I'm like, yo, go sign up. Like, it's literally. So go sign up for Veritas Road, guys. Go fucking do it. Like, if you're someone who's on my Patreon, go help the boys out because I'm sure they'd like to do. I'm sure they like to stream more as well.
We're working on it slowly but surely.
Hopefully
We
in
gotta
5 years, I'll have something that we can all, have a platform. I don't know. I'm not promising anything, but I'm just throwing options out there, man. We could all,
dreams. I love it.
dreams. These dreams. That song's about a prostitute.
I don't even know what song that is. I listened to
I live another life.
I enjoyed
These dreams. Go listen to it, man. It's These Dreams by Heart. It's a great.
These Dreams by Heart.
Hopefully, you don't get a copyright from that. That was spot on. That was beautiful.
Because it was the pitch was so perfect. We might get a copyright strike.
Yeah, it's about her being a prostitute. So just
Another good reason to listen to it. Yeah, you're not turning me away. Yeah. Sounds great. All right. Well, where Jules, where can everybody find you? I think most of these people already know where to find you, but
Love you, Stacks. Guys, my son is having a slumber party at my buddy Buck's house. His kids, they invited him over. I went and dropped them off there earlier. My daughter and wife are at her mom's house having a little girls' night. So I may stream a movie tonight.
Hell yeah.
I want to hang out and drink beer and stream a movie. We could do that. I don't got what the fuck else am I gonna do? But If you want to follow me, you can go over to X at Greypilled Pod, Instagram, Greypilled_podcast, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. You go over there. People who listen to audio, I post a video, but if you're an audio listener, YouTube, get me past 1,000, please. And then Rumble, I'm on there as well. We're almost past 1,000 over there as well. So finally, man, past year 2, getting up to 1,000. Like I said, guys, this is proof. It's I've had a very organic following. I always flaunt that because I think it's important.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
And tomorrow morning, Gods of the Morningwood, 9:00. Cult symbolism of animals, something I've talked about all day today, and adepts in Western esoteric traditions. I think part 7 or 8. So I'll tune into that. Then at 4:00. Having Brandon Magus in the media, fellow occult reject, on, and I think that episode is going to be a fucking banger. So he is a fellow bard. I'd say I'm a bard. I am an aspiring bard. I can play the drums. I need to learn how to play a lyre or something. I don't know. I can play the bass. I don't know what I'm talking about.
That's close enough.
Also, if like I said, if you want to support the show, patreon.com/greypilledpodcast. I also have a merch site, greypilled.printify.me. Got a lot of designs over there, a bunch of cool shit. I upload new designs every week. So I'm going to put an order in for myself tonight. I can finally wear my own merch. But again, guys, thank y'all for having me on. I love when people invite me on their shows because I don't have to host it. And this was a great fucking conversation, man. So
yeah, man. Always a blast. Always a blast. So thank you for taking the time. And hopefully we can do it again. Folks, thanks for listening. And we'll catch y'all next time.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Bye.
Peace.